Okay, so in this video, you're going to see how one of my students, Isaac, he was able to collect a total of like $970,000 of offer letters within a span of like 6 months. He's been in the program for about a year plus now. It took us some time to get his first offer. We worked with him, and he was able to now, he's now able to consistently produce six-figure remote opportunities. And he's able to get that skill and system from the 1% University. And in this interview, he's going to show you his experience and just dive into the process. And really was an amazing interview. So you'll go ahead and see how that interview went. And hopefully you guys enjoy. All right, cool. So yeah, you can give like a 30-second intro on like what you do now and what your life was before working with me.
Yeah, so Isaac. I'm a infrastructure engineer, and the current company I'm working for is called Child Poverty Action Lab. And basically, before working with Tile, I'd just been let go from the company I was working for before, Amazon, and it took me a while to get another job. Literally, I didn't have one for a year plus, living with my parents because I couldn't pay bills.
Okay, okay. And then and so in terms of like what you were making at Amazon, and then kind of like what are you so let's kind of talk about what you were making before at Amazon and in terms of excuse me. Excuse me. So in terms of like the total the total offer letters that you've been able to receive since working with me in terms of the amount.
Yeah. So at Amazon based, I was making 129, but then with stock and bonus, it was up to about 160. And then my current role is paying me 160. And then I got another offer letter at the same time as my current role. That was from Visa. And then total compensation for that, which would be base, stock, and bonus, would have been around 240. And then I also got a short-term contract. I only did it for about 2, 3 months, and that was for 200 an hour, and I ended up making about 60,000 from that contract.
Wow. Okay. And then
Yeah.
this current one too as well.
Yep. So today I just got an offer letter, and that's 78 an hour. So I believe that is 165,000 annually.
Okay. I think that's around all the offer letters that you've been able to receive is around like 970,000 plus.
Yo, that's crazy.
And
What?
for,
Wait,
just
actually?
yeah, I did the math. But nah, so I mean, but one of them was a contract, like short term. So the one for 200 an hour. But in terms of, you being able to consistently get offer letters, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty insane. In terms of what's been documented in the community, I think you have the most like amount of offer letters. Like in terms of the cash amount.
Dang.
Yeah,
You
it's
more
actually
than Greg?
I think even more than Greg. I think Greg, he's around like 600, $700,000 in offer letters. And so you're above that, which is crazy. And so, um, what was like the process of you trying to like get a job before joining us? Like, were you applying to jobs, like doing self-study, like free trainings on YouTube? Um, like, what did everything look like before you had a roadmap?
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely a process. So I did kind of join like right, you know, a little bit like after I had, had like go from Amazon. But like I guess even like while I was still there, like I was somewhat looking for an exit, but not really like seriously because I just kind of had like in my mind like I didn't think that I could get a better paying job
Hmm.
that I was getting there. So I was like, it's worth it for me to just keep working like crazy. Because like, you know, if I go somewhere else, like the money's gonna be way less.
Hmm.
And
And
Yeah.
But
No, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was that, and then so I wasn't like applying like crazy, but I was kind of there. And then as soon as I go, I started kind of applying like crazy, but like not a ton of hits, like some here and there, but not a bunch because like at this point, like the job market kind of was getting bad. Like this is after, all the big tech companies are doing layoffs. I mean, I can't even say after, like Amazon literally just did a layoff like a week ago. Like,
okay. And so in terms of like um where you are now, do you feel like the skill sets that you've learned kind of like how do you feel like it is now? Like the difference in terms of before and after? Like interviews coming in, like is it easier? Do you feel like you can confidently get offer letters?
yeah, yeah. At first, like, it was a grind.
Mhm.
But like right now, like, when I first got this one offer letter, I decided like, hey, I'm gonna chill a little bit just because like I was grinding so hard just to get, the offer letters that I had gotten. And then I think like last week or like the week before, I was like, okay, let me actually like start kind of like applying again and like trying to like start getting like interviews and stuff, right? And then literally just now, like boom, went through a whole loop in less than a week.
And so kind of talk about that. Like how did that happen? Like that process of you getting this offer letter, like in terms of somebody reaching out, when did they reach out, offer letter? Just
Yeah,
that's
yeah. So the recruiter reached out to me Monday. We hopped on a call. They kind of talked to me more about the role and, what what it would entail, a little bit about my background, all that. Then they submitted me, and then I got my interview Tuesday, I believe. And then I met with the hiring manager, and then things went like well. The recruiter reached out to me Wednesday and booked the next interview for Thursday. So then I did that Thursday afternoon, evening, and then the recruiter called me this morning to basically like she wasn't even sure I'd gotten the offer at first when she called me. She was just kind of like wanted to see like how everything had went, but she felt, I guess, kind of confident that I would. And then like based off of the feedback from the first interview, so she just kind of wanted to like confirm some things, like rate wise and all that stuff. And then she called me back like a couple of minutes later, basically saying like, "Hey, we were able to get you the rate that you wanted," and yeah.
nice, nice. Okay. And what was the rate again?
Yeah, so it was 72 an hour, but
Okay.
then after talking to her some more, I was able to make this a C to C contract. So I'll be getting paid through my LLC. So I'm going to be handling taxes and that kind of stuff. So they basically like put the money that they would have been paying and doing stuff on my behalf for like the taxes and stuff like that. They just stacked that on, my rate. So now it's 78 an hour.
Okay. And I just looked it up. It's $162,240 a year. So, um, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, per week, because they're not taking any taxes out per week, that's 3,120 bucks. So, um, I don't know if you're gonna get paid bi-weekly.
No, she told me it would be monthly. They're
Okay.
like the way it would work is like I submit like my invoice at the end of the month, basically.
That's $12,480 per month that just added to your monthly income. And so, and then also you have the benefit of like C to C being able to strategically like leverage other people in your team to be able to outsource some of the tasks if possible. All right, and making sure that everything is done the right way. Um, but no, that's it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Um, cool, cool. So, how did things like really start to change when you started to implement the right things? in terms of what we taught you in the program?
Yeah. Um, I guess a big one is just like redoing my resume to be able to be like attractive to recruiters, my resume and just my overall profile.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. But another big one is just being able to stand out in interviews and know the right questions to ask and how to have like a good kind of back and forth. Because like I feel like especially now, like a lot of these companies, they're so picky. Like um, so this one company that I'm interviewing for, and I have the final round on Monday, so you know that that total offer letter stuff might go up. We'll see. Um, so the recruiter basically told me that there was somebody that had interviewed like previously for that role and that he was a great technical fit, but they didn't think he was like a great culture fit just because like his background was more like traditional big tech. So he was like, yeah, make sure you talk a lot about like the startup stuff you've done and blah 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 and stuff at smaller companies, not like, you know. And it's just kind of like, dang, like you could be like, even if like you have everything down, like technically, they can still just pass over you just because like they didn't like your vibe, basically.
I've heard, I remember I was traveling to a business event and I sat next to like a cybersecurity hiring manager and he was like, yeah, to be honest, like I know like most people that, we hire, they can do the job. But like I really want to like work with people that I like. Like I was just like, I don't know, that kind of just gave me insight. Like it's about being personable too. So like having like creating some type of connection with the hiring manager, which is like what we kind of show you how to do. But that's a big thing that I didn't really think that was kind of, a big deal. But like yeah, just to add to what you just said.
No, definitely.
And so in terms of like um, can you kind of talk about the shift of what happened, like having recruiters reach out to you instead of like the other way around? Like how do you feel like that was a game changer for you in terms of your success and the system that
Yeah.
we too as well?
Yeah. So I wasn't really leveraging LinkedIn maybe the way I could have been like earlier on. Like I made sure I kind of like optimized my profile a little bit and I just kind of left it. And I did have like recruiters like reaching out. But then when I started posting more and like interacting more, I guess I just noticed like this bump in people like reaching out to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah, and the reason why like that's so big is because like I like I've probably been submitted for literally not even probably literally thousands of applications, like maybe even like 10,000 plus like applications like done between me, the VA,
Yeah.
AI auto applying tools, like literally like if the total number was over 10,000 I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow. Wow.
And you know, from all of that, in terms of offer letters I've received from jobs I applied to, none.
Wow. Wow. And so you see, like I always talk about this in the program, like 99% of people only know about one way of getting an offer letter, which is applying to jobs. And like literally what you just said, like I say that applying to jobs has the converting rate to an offer letter 2 to 3%. It's a pretty low converting rate, but essentially having more effective ways of having recruiters reach out to you for these six-figure remote opportunities. And so the position you got is it a remote position?
Yeah, it's remote. They did mention, like at first when I talked to the recruiter, they mentioned like, oh, every now and then they want to do like a team bonding in like Austin, which is like 3 hours from me. So I was just like, yeah, cool. But then like later on, they were just talking about like, yeah, it's remote, it's fine. So like,
Okay.
yeah, so I don't think it'll be an issue, but if it is, then drive over there. And since it's C to C, that's a write-off now.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, yeah, that is a write-off. Okay. Um, and so like what surprise? What surprised you the most about working with us? Like, what's one thing you didn't expect when you joined the program?
Yeah. Um, One is just like how hands-on you are. Like especially in the beginning when there, many students, but like even like now when like you've scaled, like you've been able to put systems in place to still have there be accountability and have there be like a plan. So it's not just hey, here's like a course step by step, and you just kind of do it or you don't do it, and then it is what it is. Because that's like when people say like, oh, courses are scams, right? And it's like that's kind of like what they're thinking because it's like they look at just the success stats of like people who do courses, but most people don't even finish the courses that they buy.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 8%. It's pretty
Yeah.
low.
But this isn't a course. Like it's an actual mentorship. Like you're having people like actually walk through, here's what's going on. You have an issue. You have people you can reach out to and say, "Hey, I'm having this issue. Like, you know, what can I do?" And then that's so much more valuable because you're now getting advice that is specific to the context of your situation.
Mm, okay, okay. How much time were you putting in like each week now compared to before? Like, um, just in terms of like your work-life balance. Like, do you feel like you have a skill set where you can like make more money and like kind of work less?
It's so much better. Like when I was at AWS, like like especially like towards the end, like I feel like I was working like all the time.
Mm,
Uh, Whereas like at my current role, it's so chill.
so,
Like
like, what do
like
you mean?
I there was I remember there was like one week where I was like I got kind of sick, so like I wasn't like that much work, but then I like did some over the weekend to kind of like make up for it. And then like we had like this, meeting to kind of like go over like the stuff we're doing for this project. And it turned out that I'd done like the most out of everybody so far. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Did you call off or you didn't need to call off?
Nah, so I basically was just like, yeah, I'm sick, so like I'm not gonna come into the office, but like I'm working from home. And it's a hybrid role, but like my managers don't even live in Dallas. They live in Houston. So they come
Mm,
in maybe like once a month, maybe.
mm.
So then like, okay, like when they're there, I may just like show up to show face. But other than that, like, I could stay home or I can come into the office at fucking noon and like it's fine.
Wow.
You come in at noon, leave at 3, like it's normal. Nobody cares.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this environment, like as long as you get the job done, like that's all they really care about.
Yeah.
Like as long as it's working and that's why I like because I was doing help desk when I first started, well, IT technician, but it was like it's client facing. So like it's kind of like you don't have the luxury of like, hey, I'm just living on my own island. I do the work and I don't really got to talk to people. It's like more, it gives you more leverage to be able to kind of do your own thing. Like you do the work and you kind of like, I remember one time I was like, I feel like going to Miami. It was like 9 a.m. and I booked the flight that same day. It was like 2 hours I was on the plane. And it was just like I wouldn't be able to do that if I was like picking up help desk like calls. But
Yeah.
I love this skill because it just kind of gives you so much like flexibility and leverage. But do you feel like you could have done this on your own, or like do you feel like any other program could have like got you to this level in terms of like curriculum, coaching, accountability, support? There's no wrong answer.
Yeah. In terms of getting there on my own, like I don't really think so, especially not like this fast. Like I was thinking like in my head, like, like that year, like I went without a job. And, with all like the studying I was doing, like with your program, and then even like stuff like outside of the program, I'm like, I think I like leveled up like 5 years, 5, 7+ years of experience like in a year,
Wow.
based off of like all the stuff that I was like learning and working on and reading up on and all that.
You talking about like from like the like based off the program?
Yeah, yeah, based off the program and then also just like stuff like outside of the program, but the program still like helped with like even though it's like AWS cloud, like I still have like interviews for like software engineer roles, and like even this one that I just got an offer for is a software engineer role, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like traditionally like just like say you're coming up in school or whatever, it's like okay, you learn how to code a little bit, and they don't even teach you like that much or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, but like when it comes to like the actual like high level stuff of like, hey, here is cloud, here is CI/CD, all that kind of stuff, like they don't really like teach you that. But then like as a senior engineer, you're just kind of expected to know these things.
Yeah, it's like when I look at, I mean, so I never went to like school for I did like IT, but I didn't like focus on like cloud. And I know there's like master's programs for like cloud engineering, things like that. But I hope they teach like the tools like Terraform, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, things like that. And not just concepts, but yeah, I wouldn't know. Like I haven't looked at a curriculum for like a master's program, but the common thing that I do see is people getting degrees and they just kind of struggle like either getting a job or like even like maintaining a job because it's just like they don't have that experience.
Right, right.
And so based on the results that you've seen so far, like where do you see yourself in 6 to 12 months from now, both career wise and financially?
Sheesh. Yeah. It's kind of funny that you asked that because and I sent it to you. I don't know if you took a look at it, but I was like I think like last week I was coming up with I think literally like a week ago. I think like on the first was when I like was coming up with it. I was coming up with like my goals for 2026,
Mm,
and I said, hey. I want to be at 40K a month recurring, like just gross, so like before taxes, and 250K net worth.
mm.
And if assuming I get this next job that I'm interviewing for Monday, that would put me right around that 40K a month recurring. And it's not even 2026 yet.
That's crazy. Fire in the tongue. That's
It's
crazy.
not in like the what second week of November.
And that one is that your first round interview?
Oh no, this is the final round.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Is it
and they told me so it's gonna be a panel, but they said that the panel is gonna be more culture fit. So he said like
oh,
that first one was like a technical and like we went through like technical stuff, and he said like this next round is gonna be more culture fit, he said.
okay. Now we're about to be back on another call like this because I mean, once you pass the technical, you pretty much got most of the time you got the job. Like I haven't passed the technical interview and then have another interview. And like if you pass the technical interview, at least from my experience, I've always gotten an offer letter. Because typically it's like they want to kind of get a sense of who you are. Are you like a weirdo? Are you going to fit with the culture? Because that does kind of affect like performance. Um,
Mhm.
but like, nah, if you just go in there, just be very personable, like the stuff we kind of teach you in the program, you should be fine.
Yeah, and obviously it's probably gonna be like a little bit technical, right? It's because it's a panel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's so they kind of did like a full on technical interview already.
Yeah, yeah. So that one, like basically, we did like the intros, and then he was like, here's some code. Like, just want you to like walk through it, tell me what you think, and then you talked about like some archi system like architecture stuff.
Okay. And so, like, from the skill set that you have for the rest of your life, do you confidently feel like you can always make $500,000 a year?
Sheesh. I mean, it sounds so crazy, but yeah.
Why do you say that?
Just because it's like, you know, before, like when I would see people make like 500K in tech, like these would be like staff engineers at Fang. They basically like gave their life to their company. They're in their mid 30s, 40s, which like I guess like in the grand scheme of like professional world is still, somewhat young to be making that kind of money, but it's still like, you know, that and then even then it's like most of that is not even like cash, it's like stock that,
Hmm.
wins and all this other stuff, right? Whereas it's like with this method, it's like I can make that 500K cash.
And what about like the time effort? Do you feel like you would have to give the same amount of time that you would need to do for like a staff, you know?
In terms of like getting there, definitely not. Like, because I mean, I'm almost there. So, if I was stuck on a traditional path like that'd probably be like another 5 to 10 years.
What about like the time
But in terms
commitment?
of like, yeah, the time commitment, that part I will have to see just because like I feel like it does depend on the company. Now, if it's like literally three of the company I'm currently working for, yeah, it's gonna be less.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see it because different companies have different like workloads, different
Mm.
cultures. Yeah.
Let- Let's say like, the company is like over for me, like honestly, if I'm working anything more than 2, 3 hours when I was working, um, yeah, it's enough for me though.
That still sounds crazy to me.
Bro,
I mean, the one thing that does kind of like, I mean, is like, because these two are like officially like software engineer like positions, but like they did like talk a lot about like cloud, like, so that was like more so the focus, it seems.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, because honestly, bro, I would literally just utilize AI to save a lot of time. So
yeah.
like, I'm not working.
And these are like smaller companies, so like a
Mm,
good part about that is you can kind of like come in and like say, hey, like I want this to be my space. But
yeah,
like
and
what
own
I
it.
plan on doing is like coming in and saying, hey, I want DevOps to be my space. Like I can handle, like the reviews for like Python, whatever, but like I really want to handle like our CI/CD deployments, our infrastructure. Like I want that to be my space. Like I want to become the subject matter expert there.
Mm, That's gonna give you leverage because it's like if you leave, like they're gonna be kind of screwed.
Mhm.
And on the technical side, like Terraform, Jenkins, Kubernetes, like AWS migrations, like how important was having those real world projects and us reviewing them with you? Like how important was that? And then do you feel like that made a difference in you standing out? Like even for what you just said in terms of you owning, the space in this company.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think it helps. Especially just like these like it's one thing to like know the services, buzzwords, whatever, but like this last interview I had, like most of everybody there was like chill, they were asking me questions, but they weren't like too bad. But there was this one guy he asked me like 80% of the questions, and bro was going in. Like, and then someone else would ask me a question, and then he would be like, and then they would be like, okay, yeah, nice answer. And then he would now come in with like, I got a follow up to that. Like, it's like you want me to fail, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, I've been there before.
But basically, like I say that to say, like actually having like the experience that you can like fall back on helps so much because like now, like when they start going into like more detail and lower level, like having like the higher level knowledge sometimes just isn't enough. Like you actually need like the hands-on, like, okay, here's like actually what I've done.
Mm, mm. Okay, okay. And so now that you're in, what are you putting most of your focus on? Is it like career growth? Is it like contracting or like, consulting down the line or building your wealth? Like where is like, you know, Yeah, what's your focus?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. Um, I definitely do still want to increase cash flow, but now it's going to be more about being smart with how I do it. Because I do still feel to a degree like, hey, doing the job stacking is like you're kind of like brute forcing your way to being rich. Which like I think at a certain point, like, yeah, you do kind of just have to like brute force things when you don't have like the leverage. But like now when I'm like starting to build leverage, like I definitely want to leverage, doing C to C, right? And then being able to offload like some of the work and still have, money coming in. I want to be able to leverage learning how to invest, learning how to trade so I can get money to work for me and, basically like print, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And where are you learning like all of those things?
From you, bro.
No, I'm just playing. And so like if someone's on the fence about joining the 1% University and working with me and my team, what would you tell them?
Uh, I'd say do it. Like, I mean, like even if you're someone and you're like, yeah, I'm already in tech, like, which was me, like, and I already had like a background in tech. Like, let's say I never left that, like I was still there. Let's even say I got promoted, right? So then instead of the 160, I'd be earning, it'd be like 250, base would probably be like 180. The rest is like stock and bonus, right? Just from these two jobs I'd be doing, not even counting potentially the third, I'd still be making more.
You feel like the traditional route, let's say staff engineer, making 200K or 250, as opposed to, this alternative option, who do you feel like that would be making more money and working less? The
Yeah,
traditional route or the 1% route?
I'd say the 1% route. And another thing for that is because like, at say Meta and Google, right? Some of those roles actually do top out in like the seven figures. So
Yeah.
like you actually can make crazy, like if you get to, principal engineer, and give you a whole everything. Like you can get to that seven-figure mark, and then because these companies are historically, maybe not as much now, have been like high growth companies, there are guys who after like 10 years have like a $10 million net worth.
Mm, mm,
But the the tech market, the job market now isn't what it was before, right? We just saw Amazon lay off like 14,000 people, or it might have even been more,
mm,
and they've been laying people off, and like all these companies have been laying people off for the last like 2, 3 years.
mm.
So like,
So let's talk about that. Like, all right, you have two jobs right now. You just got the second one. Most likely you're gonna get the third one. Let's just say you got laid off with all three. The Isaac that you were before and the Isaac that you are now. I want you to explain the difference in like the ability and confidence to get another job before meeting me and right now after meeting me. Well, at this current state.
yeah, yeah. So before it was like like literally I was freaking out, and like everything like went to crap. Like I literally like lost everything because I just couldn't get like another one for however long. But now that like I learned how to make myself be a top candidate, be able to get hiring managers to basically salivate over themselves, like
How did you learn that?
I mean, your program, bro. Just
Get it, but not continue.
yeah. Just being able to learn all that. It's like now I'm like confident that hey, I'll be able to get another role. And then there's even like these other like contracting sites that I'm on too, where I'm like, potentially getting like some short-term gigs here and there. And it's like, yeah.
Okay. 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 And so from a financial perspective, you feel like regardless of what happens, the skill set that you possess and the system that you have for the rest of your life, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens like with the job market, with all this AI, with the immigration, like all that stuff, right? But like as long as there are jobs that are available, people are hiring, I'm able to go in and be among, if not the top candidates that they see.
How confident are you with saying that statement? Like on a 0 to 100%.
Yeah, like before I would have been at like I'm like a 50, like I know I'm smart, but I don't know. Now I'm definitely like let's say like a 90, you know. Like sure, like there might be some people in there who like they've just been lasered in for longer and but like I definitely think that, I'm I'm able to myself in terms of with the system to just be able to articulate myself like technically and also just like come off very personally with the hiring managers and the team.
Okay, okay. And then any last like, you can give a 1% gem. So 1% gem for anybody listening and even for Isaac, it's like just something, one piece of advice that's super valuable, that someone can take, like listen to it, apply it, take this information and apply it, and it can change, move them in the right direction that they want. What's like a 1% gem that you would like to share to anyone listening to this video right now?
Yeah. I would say a big thing is whenever you set goals, it's great to have this like big long-term goal that's super flashy, right? But that should just be like your outside motivation. The goals that are actually important is the inputs that will get you to that goal, how you can reverse engineer yourself to that goal. So, like I told you that my goal for 2026 was 40K a month, recurring. So
Yeah.
then I said, okay, how can I actually get there? Well, I know that if I go and start applying for jobs and I job stack, if I get two, now I'm at like 25 to 30. If I get three, now I'm at 40, right? So that's one avenue right there. I'm also learning trading. So then like the high end of that is, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But it's like let like but it's like let's say I don't even get there. Let's say it's just like 10K a month, right? Which, is still like, top like it's still like pretty good for, traders, but like it's nowhere near the top of what you could be making.
Mhm.
Like that alone could get you there. Now let's also look at okay, what I could potentially be doing with C2C later on. Like that's another way that I C2C and like just other like contracting. That's another way. So now it's like here I have these like different avenues. What am I gonna do? So then I decided, hey, I'm gonna apply to so and so many jobs a day. I'm gonna post on LinkedIn every day. I'm gonna interact with comments. And then with trading, I'm going to spend this much time doing that. So the 40K a month no longer became my goal. Like it's still my goal in the back of my head and like the big term vision, but how I measured success is now, am I doing everything that's on my to-do list? Because if I do everything on my to-do list, it now is actually unlikely that I don't hit the goal.
Mm. So pretty much if you do all the inputs, the output is like a byproduct with time
Mhm.
of like you just doing the inputs. So all your goal is just to do the inputs because that's gonna
Right,
get you.
right, right. And like I think like the way a lot of people look at goals is like let me give an example. Let's say you have a kid and he says he wants to play in the NFL, right? Usually you kind of see two types of responses, right? You get the well. only 1% of high school kids go to make it to college, not even D1, just college in general. And then only 1% of that goes to the NFL. So your chances are only 0.1% of getting there. Like it's very unlikely. And then there's the other of like, yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to, which like is great that they're supportive, but that doesn't actually help the kid because they don't understand what it actually takes to get there.
Hmm.
Whereas if you told the kid, hey, um, by the time you get to high school, you need to, start at varsity, or you need to at least be on varsity, maybe not start like your freshman year. Now your chances go from 0.1% to let's just say 1%. And then let's say by your sophomore year, you're starting and you're playing good, right? Now your chances go up to 10%. Now let's say by junior year, you're a four-star recruit. So like statistically, like a four-star recruit is 25%. They have a 25% chance of making it to the NFL if you're a four-star recruit.
No doubt.
Let's say by your senior year, now you're a five-star recruit. Five-star recruits have a 50% chance of making it to the NFL.
Damn. Damn.
So like you see how like by like breaking down the goal into like smaller goals, all of a sudden the bigger goal goes from this impossible behemoth to like, oh, that's actually very possible. It's actually like if you're a five star, it's actually very likely. Like if you're a five star and you don't get injured, it's actually very likely that you get to the NFL. Granted, there's only like 35 stars out of like however many people playing football. But like the point is, once you like
There's
you
like
do all the inputs to get to that next level, the level after that becomes so much more realistic.
mm. And so applying that concept to this field financially,
Hmm.
like let's say, what would you tell someone like a first step, like for them to take, to get, move them in the right direction that they want financially? Start
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is like figure out what you want and then figure out like the different avenues there are to get there. So, let's just say like, hey, you just want one tech job. Like I want to make 150K a year and you're making, let's say 30. Well, what are the different avenues that I can make 150K a year? Well, a simple one is like literally just getting a tech job, like a cloud engineer role. Okay, now how do I get a cloud engineer role? Well, on the job description, it says they want this skill. Okay, how can I get this skill? Well, I can go and like try to learn it like all on myself, but then like, it's gonna be hard. Like it takes like a while to like learn these. I could work my way up from, the beginning and then like from IT help desk and like after like 5 to 10 years, I could get there. I could go into a boot camp where they can kind of fast track me there. Okay, well, that kind of seems like that might be the fastest way to get there. What do I need to do, in the boot camp? Which boot camp is right for me? You go research that, right? You just kind you like I just kind of realized that if you kind of break down your goal into a math problem, it it becomes more likely that you can actually meet that goal.
Mm,
If you just look at it from I have this behemoth goal and I have no idea how to get there. Or let's even say like you have a plan, but it's not a detailed plan, right? Then like you'll just be like working, but like eventually you might just like run in circles. But if
mm,
you have like a step by step by step plan, like the only way you don't hit it is like one, your math was wrong, right? Or which like is fine, right? You just adjust the math.
mm-hmm,
Like maybe you need a longer time horizon, or maybe you need to put in more input.
mm-hmm,
That's fine. Or, let's just say that things were working against you and, you just happen to be very unlucky. Okay. but you're not going to be unlucky forever. So you just expand the time horizon. I mean, with me, like for my job, like it, when I look at all the inputs I was doing, like with the program to be able to get a job, it's actually extreme. Like it's so like bizarre that it took me a year plus to get a job. Like
Mhm.
it's like it actually doesn't make sense that it took me that long. But then, like, now that I got it, like, boom, I got two same day. Got another short-term contract a week later. 6 months later, another offer letter.
You remember
Sometimes,
how
like, sometimes it just things just kind of work in like a momentum.
I remember um, when we had a call and you were like explaining everything, and I was like, "Wait, it's taking you this?" Oh, I think because did Stormy get a job before you?
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Right. So for some context, the guys who don't know, Stormy is a guy, no degree, no certification, no tech background at all. Isaac has a degree, has worked at Amazon, has a background in tech. And so Stormy had got a job before him. And I think for Stormy, it took him like 7 or 9 months. I can't remember. And mind you, Stormy, he all he knew is how to turn on a computer and search stuff on Google. He was not tech savvy at all. He didn't know what a hard drive was. He didn't know what RAM was. Just the basics. And so I remember talking to Isaac, and I was like, "This doesn't make any sense. Like something in this system is off." And I know Isaac knows how to work hard. And so what we did was, I told him to bring his interview, to the coaching call. So we have Sunday coaching calls. And then um I remember, I did the feedback, just small things here and there. And so some important things too. But like a month later, he had gotten the two offer letters. And so this just goes to show that exactly what Isaac said. Like maybe the math is wrong, maybe some part of the equation is off, and that was just like adjusting his inputs, right? He was doing a good amount of volume, but we needed to make sure that it was effective. And so that's kind of like a benefit of like someone who, has gotten where you want to go to kind of tell you what you're doing wrong. Because if Isaac really didn't know, he'd probably be getting the same results. And so, no, just wanted to touch base on that. It took Isaac some time, and just to be full, like have transparency, it was like a year plus. Do you remember how long? It was like what, 14
Like
months,
14
16
months.
months? How long?
I believe 14 months. Like it went from March of 2024 to May of 2025.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad because I was like, yo, I see all these other people getting offer letters, and I'm like, I don't know which. I was like, bro, I have no idea what's going on. Like, but then like we sat down and looked at like the system to make sure he's doing everything properly, right? And then he started to see some more results. Um, yeah, I was like, nah, we got to get you results. But I'm not gonna lie, most people will give up. Just being honest with you. Um, Isaac was let go from his job, and then he started to seek help. Realistically, and I was talking to him like outside this call, like if you never like actually got let go from Amazon, you wouldn't have like the intensity. Like he was telling me, I probably wouldn't have like the same urgency and intensity to like, acquire this skill. And like now, like if even if he loses a job or any job, he can get another one. Like he has that confidence because he has the proper skill set and system in place. Um, but I just wanted to touch on that. Is there anything you want to say?
Oh yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
Cool. But no, so like, you don't have to, but if you want to like share any like social media handles or like LinkedIn profile, if anybody wants to reach out to you, ask questions, or just to like help anybody, you don't have to. Just throw it out.
Yeah, sure. Should I just put it in the chat or just like say it?
Yeah, you can say it, and then I'll make sure it's added to the video into in the
Yeah.
description.
So I mean, my LinkedIn is literally just my first and last name, Isaac Rowaye, Rowaiye, and then my Instagram handle is my first and last name with the underscore in between.
Okay, cool, cool. Now once again, I appreciate you for joining, and then yeah, this is it's crazy because it's crazy if you think about it. You were like, if this was like a race, you were like last place because of like it took you so long. But now
Yeah.
you're like in first place in terms of like the amount of like offer letters and the amount too as well in terms of like the
Yeah.
salary. It's like
No, no, no. It's crazy.
went from last to first place. That's insane.
No,
Uh,
no, it actually is crazy. Like literally, like I was just sitting there, I was just sitting, I was just looking, I was like, 6 months ago, I was in my parents' crib. Like I literally, like a tear literally just like rolled down my face. I was like, oh my God. Like, because bro, I was literally at a point where I was just like looking up, like if this shit is not gonna get better, just take me, bro. I don't want to do this shit no more.
that's actually crazy. That's
Oh,
that's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. Nah, man, it's just the beginning too. Because like I said, the first thing is really having like stable income, and then we teach you how to use that money to make more money for you and how to build wealth, right? But there's just like a step-by-step systematic approach to do so. But you got the skill, it's confirmed. You hit multiple like offer letters using the same system. And so now that we have that foundation, how to manage your money, how to make money with, with cloud engineers, things like that, I'm going to show you how to use that extra money to make money for you. So, 1% University.
so.
So that's pretty much it. And thank you everybody for watching. See you soon.